What's up, guys? Welcome back to Harry Potter Tales, where it is, of course, all about Harry Potter. Today, I will give you guys a complete, in-depth history of Voldemorts Horcruxes. When Tom Riddle was still a student at Hogwarts, his obsession with immortality grew. After reading about them in Secrets of the Darkest Art, he decided Horcrux magic would be his weapon of choice to gain immortality. It is unclear whether or not Horcruxes are the only thing he tried to become immortal, or whether or not a Horcrux can fail. My doubt stems from one of the things he said at the graveyard. He said, "It appeared one or more of my experiments worked," which indicates he either tried something else besides Horcruxes, or he wasn't completely sure Horcruxes would in fact always work. Anyway, when Tom was in his fifth year at only 16, he managed to tame the basilisk in the Chamber of Secrets, setting it loose and eventually killing Myrtle Warren with it. After Myrtle's death, Dumbledore kept a close watch on Tom, preventing him from opening the chamber again. He therefore used his diary to create his first Horcrux. He intentionally stored a large part of his damaged soul into that Horcrux, as he wanted it to have enough power to one day reopen the Chamber of Secrets once again. I don't believe the soul part in, for example, the Hufflepuff cup could be powerful enough to do that, as it wasn't even able to resist being destroyed, whereas the Locket, for example, was able to resist. This leads me to believe one could choose how much of the soul can be stored in a Horcrux. Now, after his fifth year at Hogwarts, Tom went to Little Hangleton to learn about his mother's family. While he was there, he met his uncle, Morfin Gaunt. Morfin told Tom he looked a lot like the Muggle husband of Merope Gaunt, Tom's mother. Morfin told Tom the story of his Muggle father, which made Tom very angry as he despised Muggles. Tom, wanting revenge, stunned Morfin and took his wand. He then went to the Riddle house and, using his uncle's wand, murdered his father, grandfather, and grandmother with a killing curse. He used magic to alter Morfin's memory, leading him to believe he was a killer. Before being sent to Azkaban, Tom took the Gaunt ring and wore it when he returned to Hogwarts. During his sixth year, he became quite close to Professor Slughorn. Tom used his charisma to question Slughorn about multiple Horcruxes. Having made one already, he wanted to know for sure if it was possible to create more than one Horcrux, as no one had ever attempted to make more. Slughorn confirmed what Tom had already read in the book Secrets of the Darkest Art. My guess is Tom didn't just need Slughorn's information, he also wanted to shock him, something he apparently enjoyed doing, as when he was still very young he lured two Muggle orphans into the Crystal Cave, which absolutely traumatized them. Now, being now fairly sure he could make more than one Horcrux, he decided to make 6 of them, splitting his soul into 7 pieces, which he believed added magical power to the already incredibly advanced magic. Sometime after consulting Slughorn, he successfully made his second Horcrux with the Gaunt ring. He then hid it in the Gaunt shack, where it was found by Dumbledore years later. In his quest to make 6 Horcruxes, Tom was very much interested in Hogwarts artifacts to use as containers for his soul parts. One of these artifacts was a Ravenclaw diadem, which he located in Albania after charming the ghost of Helena Ravenclaw, Rowena Ravenclaw's daughter. With the murder of an Albanian muggle, he turned that diadem into his third Horcrux. After this, he returned to Great Britain, where he rejected a lot of job positions at the Ministry of Magic, and he set off to work at Borgin and Burke's, where he persuaded people to sell them their valuable magical artifacts. During this time, he befriended Hepzibah Smith, who showed him Slytherin's locket and Hufflepuff's cup. After killing her, he stole these two objects and disappeared. For 10 years nothing was heard of him, and it is safe to assume he made the locket and the cup into Horcruxes during his absence. It was at this time as well he started calling himself Lord Voldemort, which translates to the Lord who escaped death. 10 years after disappearing, he reapplied at Hogwarts again for another job. There were three reasons why he wanted to work at Hogwarts. First, Hogwarts was the home he never had, and it was the only place he was truly happy. He wanted to discover as much of Hogwarts as possible, tapping into hidden sources of magic. Second, he wanted to hide the diadem in the castle, and third, he wanted to recruit more followers. After getting rejected by Dumbledore, he stumbled upon the Room of Requirement. Arrogant as he was, he believed to be the first discoverer of this room, and he hid the diadem there. At some time after, he hid the locket in the Crystal Cave, the cave he had brought two Muggle orphans where they were kids and traumatized them to the point of mental destruction until they were no longer able to speak. I believe he hid the locket there because he wanted it to be as safe as possible, because he knew a war would soon begin in the wizarding world. During this war, he used Creature, the house elf of one of his servants, Regulus Black, to test the cave's defenses. Getting into the cave was in itself a challenge, but the real danger lied in the potion that had to be drunk if one wanted to steal the locket. When Creature drank, he saw terrible things and felt agonizing pain, and when Voldemort left him there to die, he escaped using his own special kind of magic. Upon hearing what happened, Regulus ordered Creature to bring him back to the cave so he could take the locket, which he assumed was a Horcrux, and destroy it. Regulus told Creature he had to escape if Regulus himself was in danger, and to destroy the locket. After drinking the potion, the drink of despair, Regulus suffered agonizing pain and unquenchable thirst. This thirst made him drink from the lake, and it thus attracted the Inferi. When they dragged Regulus underwater, Creature had to obey his master, so he fled with the locket, leaving a duplicate that was of course later found by Harry and Dumbledore. Now, a little while after Creature's escape, the prophecy concerning the boy who possessed a power that would destroy the Dark Lord was made by Civil Trelawney. The prophecy stated, "The one with the power to vanquish the Dark Lord approaches. Born to those who have thrice defied him, born as the seventh month dies. And the Dark Lord will mark him as his equal, but he will have power the Dark Lord knows not. And either must die at the hand of the other, for neither can live while the other survives." I will do a video in which I talk more about this prophecy and about the consequences of Voldemort not knowing about the last part, which stated that either had to die at the hand of the other. The prophecy could have been about either Harry Potter or Neville Longbottom. Voldemort, however, chose to kill Harry, as he identified himself most with him, both being half-bloods. He wanted to make his final sixth Horcrux with the murder of Harry, but as we all know, his plan failed. He was destroyed by the power he underestimated most, the power of love. The killing curse rebounded, leaving him a mangled soul, barely alive. This, however, was proof his Horcruxes had succeeded. During the failed assassination attempt, Voldemort unknowingly created a Horcrux when part of his soul attached itself to Harry. This gave Harry some of Voldemort's power, like Parseltongue and the ability to see through Voldemort's eyes. Now, the part of Voldemort that had escaped sought refuge in the Albanian forest where he had found the Ravenclaw diadem. Being afraid the Aurors would still be looking for him, he only inhabited animals, which frustrated him as he couldn't perform magic to give him his body back. Whilst in Albania, he heard rumors about the Philosopher's Stone and how it could get him his body back. He also learned it was being relocated to Hogwarts for better protection. He luckily encountered Professor Quirrell, whose weak mind was easily overpowered by Voldemort. Latched onto Quirrell, he was able to travel and infiltrate Hogwarts, where he tried to both kill Harry and steal the stone. When he failed, Voldemort's soul escaped, killing Quirrell in the process. Once again weakened to the point of being barely alive, Voldemort returned to the Albanian forest, where he waited for his servants to rejoin him and provide him with his old body. Whilst he was there, the second year of Hogwarts would begin for Harry and his friends, and the first year for Ginny Weasley. When they were shopping for books, Lucius Malfoy joined them, mocking them and sneakily putting Voldemort's diary in between Ginny's books. He knew that diary was cleverly jinxed so it could be used to open the Chamber of Secrets, but what he didn't know was that it was actually a Horcrux that contained part of Voldemort's soul, created by a 16-year-old Tom Riddle. Ginny began writing in the diary and found that a 16-year-old Tom Riddle was answering. The diary slowly drained the life and energy from Ginny, who felt comfort and safety writing in it. Ginny, completely manipulated by the diary, reopened the Chamber of Secrets, releasing the basilisk. While possessed, she also killed Hagrid's roosters and wrote threatening messages on the school's corridors in rooster blood. When she started to resist the diary's power, she tried to flush it in Moaning Myrtle's toilet, where of course Harry and Ron found it. Harry then started communicating with Tom Riddle's diary, unaware he was actually communicating with a 16-year-old Voldemort. When Ginny saw that Harry had the diary, she stole it back, for she did not want Harry to find out all the things she had written in the diary or what she had done under its influence. The diary then lured her into the chamber so it could start to take on a corporal form of Tom Riddle's 16-year-old body through Ginny's life's energy. When Harry got to the chamber and found a lifeless Ginny, Tom Riddle appeared and explained to Harry he was Voldemort's 16-year-old self. He then called for the basilisk, which Harry fought and killed with the help of Fawkes the Phoenix and the Sword of Gryffindor. After learning the diary contained part of Tom Riddle and therefore Voldemort, Harry stabbed it with the basilisk fang, destroying Tom Riddle and effectively destroying Voldemort's first and most powerful Horcrux. As Dumbledore revealed later, the contemporary Voldemort, who was still in Albania, was unaware of these happenings. This Voldemort was of course joined by Wormtail, who provided him with a rudimentary body so Voldemort could travel and perform magic. With the killing of Bertha Jorkins, he turned Nagini into a Horcrux, as his plan was always to have 6 Horcruxes. He didn't know the diary was destroyed, and he didn't know part of him lived in Harry. Now, Voldemort wanted to get his old body back through old and very dark magic, for which he needed 3 main ingredients: bone of the father, flesh of the servant, and blood of the enemy. To make the potion as strong as possible, blood of the enemy would be Harry's blood, as there was no one in the world who hated Voldemort more than Harry. Plus, Voldemort expected Lily's protection to also run through his body. After getting his body back, Voldemort dueled Harry, which led to Priori Incantatem and Harry's fortunate escape. After returning to Hogwarts, Harry told Dumbledore as much as he could remember. The line, "I, who have gone further than anybody along the path that leads to immortality," made Dumbledore suspect he had made multiple Horcruxes. He was fairly certain the diary used to be a Horcrux, and now he believed there could be more. Dumbledore got another clue to Voldemort's multiply split soul when Harry was able to see through the eyes of the snake. The fact that Harry was a Parselmouth made him sure a part of Voldemort latched itself to Harry the night Voldemort lost his body. During the events of the Order of the Phoenix, not much happened with his Horcruxes. It was only 1 year later that Dumbledore told Harry what he knew. He told him he had located the Gaunt Ring, that he was a Horcrux, and that he had destroyed it. He, however, had recognized the symbol of the deadly hallows on the stone and put on the ring, hoping the resurrection stone would bring back his parents and his sister. The ring, however, had a dangerous curse cast upon it, causing Dumbledore to become terminally cursed, having less than a year to live. Now, by the time the ring was destroyed, Dumbledore knew Voldemort had made multiple Horcruxes, as he had already seen proof of at least two. The number of Horcruxes, however, was still uncertain. Harry needed to get Slughorn to reveal his memory of that day, as Dumbledore suspected he talked to Tom Riddle about Horcruxes. When Harry got the memory, it was clear Voldemort wanted 6 Horcruxes, or a soul split into 7 pieces. Dumbledore and Harry then traveled to the Crystal Cave. Dumbledore suspected another Horcrux was hidden there, as Tom Riddle had a picture of the cave when he was still a young child living in the orphanage. Tom had brought 2 children there and traumatized them to the point where they were no longer able to speak. When they arrived, Dumbledore sensed dark magic lived in there and knew they were at the right place. When they arrived at a small island in the middle of the cave's lake, it was clear the potion had to be drunk in order to retrieve the Horcrux. After getting the Horcrux, Harry attracted Team Fury by accident by getting water for a completely dehydrated Dumbledore. Dumbledore scared them off by summoning the Firestorm, and the duo escaped with the Horcrux without Voldemort knowing it. When they got back to Hogwarts, Dumbledore asked for Snape. The Gaunt Ring Dumbledore had destroyed had a curse on it, which Snape trapped inside Dumbledore's hand. He knew he would die soon, and having Snape kill him would prove to Voldemort once and for all Snape was on his side. Snape thus killed Dumbledore in front of a few Death Eaters and fled. Later, a grief-struck Harry discovered the Horcrux was a fake and belonged to R.A.B. They didn't know who R.A.B. was and if he in fact had succeeded in destroying the Horcrux. After Bill and Fleur's wedding, Harry, Ron and Hermione traveled to Grimmauld Place, where they discovered R.A.B. was Regulus Arcturus Black, Sirius's brother. The Black's house elf creature told them the locket had indeed been in his possession after he escaped the cave, but he was unable to destroy it. The locket was then taken by Bendungus Fletcher, who gave it to Dolores Umbridge, who at that time worked at the Ministry of Magic. After infiltrating the Ministry and stealing the locket, they tried to escape using the Floo network, but the Ministry official was able to travel with them to Grimmauld Place, revealing its location. Hermione then transported them through apparition to a forest she remembered from when she was very young. There they tried a bunch of different spells to destroy the Horcrux, but to no avail. Ron, growing frustrated and angry, left the group and was unable to find them back because of Hermione's powerful defensive spells. When Harry and Hermione later camped in the Forest of Dean, a Patronus charm led Harry to a lake which contained the Sword of Gryffindor. Snape had put it there under instruction of Dumbledore and placed a fake sword in Bellatrix Lestrange's vault at Gringotts. This way Voldemort wouldn't know the real sword was in Harry's possession. If Voldemort knew the sword was capable of destroying a Horcrux is unknown. Now, when Harry dove in the lake, the Horcrux Locket realized Harry was getting close to a dangerous object, so he tried to strangle him. After almost drowning, Ron saved him, got the sword, and destroyed the Horcrux. After destroying the Horcrux, they were found by Snatchers, who brought them to Malfoy Manor, where they were interrogated by Bellatrix Lestrange. She believed the real sword was hidden in her vault, and upon discovering they had it, she got extremely angry and worried about them stealing from her vault. This made Harry realize she might have had a Horcrux in her vault. When Harry, Ron and Hermione later escaped, they took the sword with them, as well as one of Bellatrix's hairs. They used this hair to make Polyjuice Potion and transform Hermione into Bellatrix, so they could infiltrate Gringotts with the help of Griphook, a goblin who worked at Gringotts. They were able to get in Bellatrix's vault and find the Hufflepuff cup, which proved to be indeed a Horcrux. When they escaped with the cup, they unfortunately had lost the sword to Griphook. When Griphook, the other goblins, and the Gringotts guards told Voldemort what had happened, he realized Harry was successfully tracking Horcruxes, and he killed almost everyone in the room. Unaware that Harry was reading his mind, he started to think about all the hiding places of his Horcruxes, starting with the Gaunt Ring. He believed Dumbledore could have figured out he was a descendant of the Gaunts, and believed the ring was the least safe Horcrux. Upon discovering the ring had in fact been stolen, he knew for sure his Horcruxes weren't safe anymore. He then decided to check if the locket would still be in the Crystal Cave. When he got there, he got a message through the Death Eaters at Hogwarts that they had captured Harry Potter. After finding the locket was missing, he quickly traveled to Hogwarts. He was certain his last remaining Horcrux besides Nagini couldn't be found, as he, and only he, had uncovered the Room of Requirement. Upon realizing Voldemort was going to attack the castle, the teachers, the Order of the Phoenix, and other people on their side all gathered to protect the castle from Voldemort. This battle would become known as the Battle of Hogwarts. During this battle, two more Horcruxes were destroyed. The first one, the Hufflepuff Cup, got destroyed in the Chamber of Secrets by Ron and Hermione with the use of a basilisk fang. The second one, the Ravenclaw diadem, got destroyed in the Room of Requirement by the Fiendfire. Realizing he had only Nagini left as a Horcrux, Voldemort desperately wanted to find and kill Harry and keep Nagini safe. What he didn't know was Harry also had a part of his soul living inside him. When he tried to kill Harry, he only destroyed his own soul part. I talk more about this in another video, which I will link in the description. When the second battle broke out after Voldemort and his Death Eaters came to show a supposedly dead Harry, Neville Longbottom successfully decapitated Nagini with the Sword of Gryffindor, leaving Voldemort without Horcruxes. At the same time, chaos ensued as Hogwarts centaurs attacked the Death Eaters. Not long after that, in the midst of the battle, most of the Death Eaters were either killed or paralyzed, after Bellatrix Lestrange was killed by Molly Weasley, leaving Voldemort alone, without Horcruxes and without his most faithful servants. When Harry showed himself to Voldemort, everyone stopped and looked. Harry and Voldemort circled each other in the middle of the Great Hall, and Harry explained how Voldemort had once again underestimated the power of love, how love made the killing curse rebound, how love made Severus Snape become a spy in a desperate attempt to keep the love of his life safe, and later to keep her son safe, how love made Voldemort unable to hurt anyone because Harry had sacrificed himself for everyone in the castle because he was willing to die for them. He then explained how Voldemort wasn't the true master of the Elder Wand, as Draco Malfoy had disarmed Dumbledore and had therefore won the allegiance of the wand. He then asked Voldemort if the Elder Wand knew whether or not Harry had forcefully taken Draco's wand at Malfoy Manor, and if so, if the Elder Wand perceived Harry as its true master. Blinded by rage, Voldemort fired his killing curse, whilst Harry fired his disarming curse. The two spells collided, and because the Elder Wand refused to hurt its true master, Harry's disarming spell was stronger, causing the killing curse to rebound, killing Voldemort once and for all. Alright my friends, that's it for this video. If you enjoy documentary style videos like this that are a lot longer than usual, please leave a thumbs up and a comment so I know how to make more. Thanks, subscribe, and I'll see you later. Peace.